Okay, welcome everybody. Welcome to our test run. And I think I'm going to use Mr. Tao's word for this, our rehearsal run of the initial extramural, or e-meet in this case. So in today's event, we are going to work through and kind of test out the system that we've designed. We're going to be working through a kind of truncated version of the district meets that we normally would. Instead of having 5 separate events, arithmetic, trig analysis, geometry, algebra, and group, we will instead have combinations of events. So our first one will be arithmetic trig, our second will be geometry and algebra, and our third one will be the group problem. Monitoring this entire time as much as possible and kind of tracking time for us will be this screen. I'm using OBS. I actually don't know the name of the program, but it's working fine. I usually use Camtasia, so this is a first for me of a second meaningful event on here. And basically we'll try to monitor everything and time everything for you, so you don't have to worry about that, and you can focus on having your problems, or working through the problems and thinking through all the good math. As we get everything started here, again, this is my first time live streaming for an audience that I don't actually know and that I wasn't just in a meeting with, so forgive me for all the mistakes that I'm probably about to make, and please have patience as we work through this for the first time. But where I wanted to begin was just kind of introduce the rules that we're establishing for the electronic meets this year. Obviously, there are certain elements of the original Mathletes meet rules that just don't make sense anymore. Flipping over your paper early just isn't a thing anymore because the paper is your own and there's no one nearby, and you won't be able to see the paper until I release it electronically to your Google Classroom, from a fake high school, in fact. But having said that, I do want to establish these rules just so that we're all on kind of the same page of what we're looking for. A lot of these elements your coach will be able to monitor for you, which should work really nicely, but some of these elements require you to demonstrate integrity, and truthfully there's a lot of that need all throughout distance learning anyway. So we're going to trust you to do that so that these competitions maintain their integrity and that everyone can have a really good time challenging themselves mathematically. So to start with, I've left the rules on the screen, and I'm probably going to do that throughout this year, so that if any point you want to remember or check what one of the rules were during the competition, you can quickly look over, assuming that you're logged into the live stream. So on the left side of the screen, it says the E rules of e-meet. That's a lot of E's, I'm sorry. It's not as easy to read as I might hope. The first one says, be ready in Google Classroom when problems begin and submit at 10 minutes. What we mean is that basically you should be logged into your school Google Classroom right at the moment when you're ready to begin. Like for us, our first problem today will probably be somewhere around 4:10 that we'll release it. I will go over to Google Classroom on my other screen and I'll click release, and then I'll start the timer. I think we're using the candle timer, but we'll see in just a second. As well, it says to be ready to submit at 10 minutes. We're using a system similar to AP testing last year, which might mean something to some of you or might not mean anything to you, depending on how old you are. But in this case, what we mean is after 10 minutes, you should stop working wherever you are and submit your problem. Like, I realize that because we're going to give you 2 minutes or so to upload your answer, you're going to be tempted to work for 1 minute and 48 more seconds. Please don't do that. Please treat it just like the problems would be normally. And I realize today's problems may be a little more difficult, or maybe difficult with the time. We didn't get a chance to normalize anything. That's okay. Like, again, today is just a practice round with the problems that my officers and I were able to come together with. After that, it says name, school, team, and number clearly labeled. It's possible some of you won't know your student number just yet. Like, in order to track everything and record everything as nicely as possible, I designed kind of a spreadsheet suite that we're going to be using to track everything. If you don't know your number, that's perfectly fine. A good question mark should do the trick, so that way we know that that's there. My team of greater elves will make sure to figure out who you are and attach your number to it. Having said that, though, obviously the school is going to be a little less important, but it would help us if it says it on every piece of paper or every document we look at, just to make sure that we're always clear who's there, because we may be having greater elves grade multiple schools. And of course, your name really has to be there. If your name's not there, we won't throw it in the trash bin, but it would just help us a lot if it's there, particularly if you're using a username in your Gmail account that doesn't match your actual name. Third, don't communicate with anyone if they are testing. So basically in this event, everyone's going to be taking every problem because there's really only 3 problems. We combine them all together. At a regular event, if you were, say, not taking arithmetic and your buddy was taking arithmetic, you would not be communicating with each other during that time. You'd be in separate rooms, but of course we have electronic devices, and we don't have any ability to brick your electronic device while you're competing, and it's good that we don't because we're literally live streaming on YouTube while we do this. So just please don't communicate with anyone. Obviously, if you have some secret or super secret microphone setup, there's nothing we can do, but please don't use it. Please, again, hold to the integrity of the competition as much as possible. Fourth, this is where the familiar rules really pop in. Exact answers in simplest form only. So even though in my classroom, like, you don't have to simplify your answers, you don't have to, there's certain things you don't have to do, in these competitions you 100% have to make your answers exact and in simplest form. So please make sure you do that. As a reminder, a simplest form answer might be 3/2 versus 6/4. So make sure, I'm doing the math in my head, making sure I didn't mess up that calculation on the live stream. So make sure that they are in simplest form and exact answers. Now, if there was an answer like 3/2 and it didn't tell you it needed to be a fraction, absolutely 1.5 would be acceptable. That is exact. But make sure it is, of course, an exact decimal. Rule number 5 is to rationalize all denominators. Again, that may not be the rule for your classroom. It's definitely not for the AP Calculus exam, at least. But here we do need you to do that. It helps us grade faster and it ensures some uniformity in all of our rules. Rule number 6, include correct units if asked. The plan would be that for any problem that requires units, it would say at the very end of the prompt or the stem, include units. That would be my personal plan. But just in case, like, include units if they're there. As a heads up, if you include units that weren't supposed to be there, that would make your answer wrong. Unfortunately, if you try to pay for a box of donuts with 699 miles, it's not going to do anything. That's not how math works, unfortunately. Rule number 7 says use only approved calculators or resources. For all of the problems this year, none of them should require a calculator at all. They should all be possible without one, although, as you all know, a scientific calculator would be very advantageous. We would say that a scientific calculator is acceptable, or calculators that have the features of a scientific calculator only would be acceptable, but we ask that you not use any graphing calculators. That gives a huge advantage. Sure, there are competitions out there like the awesome CML that do allow a graphing calculator. That's not our plan for this time because not every student has access to one of those. So we're trying to keep it as simple as possible. It's possible that in the future we'll turn to a no calculator competition completely, but for now, again, we're just saying scientific or no calculators, please. Option 8, or rule number 8, these are options. These are not options. Rule number 8 states to demonstrate integrity and be patient. Patient mostly with us, like with me and my team of Greater Elves, as we put everything together and try to get this competition working all the way through. Especially me, because I'm the one that's standing here and who will begin sweating really soon when I realize all the people are watching me. And I have to think about that. I'm trying not to think about that right now. But basically, like, show patience because this is a new process. Like, this process has just kind of been in my head for a while. My team and I have talked it through multiple times. Like, I've gone through programming, bricked my computer before programming the entire thing a couple weeks ago. That was fun. But basically, we never got to test this really. Like, this is a kind of new, untested system that we're trying out. We're hopeful that it'll work, and I think it will. But again, please be patient. And of course, demonstrate integrity through here. The competition's not fun if you just, I don't think you're going to be able to Google the answer, but if you just go into Desmos and just graph a bunch of things like, hey, look at me. There are competitions for that, but that's not the one we're looking for here. We want to challenge you mathematically. We want to give you that kind of experience and feel of being at a district meet as much as possible, but we want to make sure that everyone's on an equal playing field as much as possible. And the final rule up there, rule number 9, says have fun factorial. Like in this case, we're interpreting the factorial as an exclamation mark. We do want you to have fun. The entire purpose, the reason that we've spent all these hours putting this together, the reason that my team is helping of Greater Elves is coming, into existence, is being conjured from the basements of Hogwarts to make this happen, is so that we can enjoy this experience and that you and your team members can actually have a good time like you would at a district meet. Unfortunately, this is decidedly bring your own snack. So, obviously, if you've got your bag of fruit snacks nearby, it's probably a good idea because I can't provide pizza to you. Trust me, if I had a way to throw pizza through this camera, I would be using it, although that sounds really messy. But the important thing is that you have a good time. We want you to challenge yourselves like you always would at a Mathletes competition. We want you to enjoy that experience with your teammates, whether it's on the group problem or just like anxiously talking about the problems afterwards. And we want you to have a good time. Like, there's not a lot of great things that you're always able to do right now in the current situation we're in. We're hopeful that this will become one of them. So having said that, a couple other resources that I'll offer before we start having your coaches move you into breakout rooms. One of the resources that we'll offer you is, especially with today's, but in future problems as well, in future events, at the end of the competition, we will post all of the solutions for you to see. Obviously, we'll also announce results in a true competition as well. But in those written solutions, we'll have written solutions that are provided to us from, I believe Mr. Ken Johnson is still the one planning to write all the problems for us. But in addition, we're planning to offer video solutions, so where we talk through the problems so that you can kind of engage with them. You'll see them being a little more dynamic. Paper doesn't move at all and doesn't wear a cool hat, whereas the video solutions will attempt to do that. So for this meet, or this intramural competition, Vian and I were able to produce all the video solutions. So feel free to take a look and kind of watch, especially if you're curious about some of the problems and how you might approach them. I think there's some really interesting, rich stuff here, although they are fairly challenging, especially for a September competition. So those will be available for you as well. And if we run into cool resources that we either make or come across, we'll of course post those in your Google Classroom just so that you have access to them just like we do. We're hoping then that that gives everyone an opportunity to be really successful this year and to really enjoy the experience of the e-meet. And having said that, it is 4:09. You might think that I had scripted out that plan, but I decidedly had not. And I think we're about ready to get started with our first event. So I'm going to try this really fast. Let's see. Ha! It worked. So our first event for today's competition is going to be the Arithmetic trig event. As I told the coaches, everyone can do every event today because there's only 3. And in fact, I'd recommend that for this event, coaches, you don't move your students into breakout rooms unless you want to. I'll give you a couple minutes just in case. But basically, in just a few minutes, we will begin the Arithmetic trig event. You will have 10 minutes to work. I have commandeered, not sure the legality of this, but I have commandeered the candle timer. So as soon as time begins, I will start this, or as soon as I release the problems, I will start this. And then you'll have 10 minutes to go through, and I'll announce it as we go through, or as we go through the competition. Before we do that, though, I need to go queue it up in Google Classroom. So if everyone competing today could please head to your Google Classrooms. Greater Elves, you can kind of hang out and just be ready. We're not ready to go through everything just yet, but let me go access the 2 hub classrooms here. And I'm going to go from my stage glasses to my non-stage glasses really fast. I'm going to get our first problem here ready in both classrooms. I don't know what you can see on the stream here, but my hand is most definitely shaking a little bit as this gets started. This is kind of exciting. Let's see. Need to make sure. Okay, both of these. Okay, there's that one and that one. Okay, I like it. Actually, okay, let me try one thing. That did not work, but I think I can do it. Okay, so again, at this point, you're preparing. Something you may have seen for the real events, we will have the ability to, you'll have the ability to print out templates so that you're ready for all of your events. You can pre-fill out the headers and everything. For this one, if you did that, that's great. Otherwise, just as you're getting in on whatever paper you're going to be uploading, make sure your name, your school, your team, especially A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, I think that's where we stopped, as well as your number, if you know that already, should be on that screen and ready to go. And the files will post as PDFs, so they should open nicely on any device, whether you're on a Chromebook, a computer, a cell phone. It probably would not work on an Abacus, but again, I'm not sure what Abacus technology looks like now. But having said that, I think we've got everything ready. So what I'm about to do is I'm going to release the first problems here. So the first event, as we said before, and as it says on your screen, is Arithmetic trig. So you will have 10 minutes after I start the candle timer to complete that, and then we will announce when you have 2 minutes to upload. So I was going to say, does anyone have any questions for me? But if you have a way to ask me a question, yeah, that's creepy. Like, why are you in my house? So instead, let me go ahead and click this off. I think I have to click assign multiple times here. So we are about to begin the first event for the first remote electronic meet. I guess it's just a dry run rehearsal, but still. Go there, assign. Give me 1 bit here. My internet is not happy with my choices in life. I'm still waiting. Some of them have not posted yet. It's going very slowly. Thanks, Comcast Wi-Fi. Let's see if it posted here. Okay, all have posted, so let me get the timer going. You have 10 minutes starting now. Team, can you hear me on the live stream? Can you, you can still hear me on the live stream. Am I making noise on the live stream? Okay. Okay. Wait, I am. Am I still making noise on the live stream? You can still hear me. Wait, I don't want to be making noise. Okay, so I'm getting some word that the problems aren't posting properly. Let me take a look and see if I can figure out what went wrong there. May have been that the thing overloaded at once. Yeah, it does not appear that they posted. Give me a second. All of that for that. Let's see. Okay. Let's reuse the event. I think I know what happened. Okay, that one. Reuse. Okay, it's going really slowly here. I think I can get this to work. Oh, yeah, it only selected one high school. Give me a second. I apologize. I'm so busy trying to get off the live stream. Boom. Okay. Assign. Use that. If this works. Okay, we're going to go with. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, assign. Okay, I'm attempting to assign the problems. I see what it was. If that happens, I'll just reset the clock. It's just taking so long to post. Okay. Okay, so it looks like EGUSD should be posting right now, and non-EGUSD is still lagging a little bit. Okay, non-EGUSD seems to have just posted, so if you could attempt to find those problems again, I'll click into a couple schools here. Let's see. Okay, they are appearing now for me, so I believe that they should be working now. They should be visible to all the schools. Let me try an EGUSD one really fast. I'll reset the timer, of course. Okay, so it looks like some of them are posted. Okay, they should be visible now. I'm just going to reset the timer. If the problems did post for you, then basically just stop at the regular time and submit. For those that didn't, please continue from there. So 3.5 minutes remaining for those, and then I'll put the other timer up for everyone else. As a heads up, if you were able to get the problems at the initial 10 minutes, your time is up. For everyone else, there's 6 minutes. I am going to wait and let that time reset so that we all get onto the same page and I can figure out what's going on with the upload problems. So again, if you finished already, make sure you're uploading. If you haven't, please just hang out for a little bit extra. We will let everyone catch up here. Thank you. 1 minute remaining-ish. Okay, time is up. Please put your pencils and or writing utensils down. At this time, if you didn't already submit, please do upload your answers. You might take a quick peek and make sure that your header is visible as well, and that you're ready to upload. Again, we're not as concerned about numbers and stuff for today. We're going to do the best we can to grade it and put everything in on a practice basis. But again, take a picture of it, make it as clear as possible. If you take a photo that is unreadable, unfortunately it would be hard for us to do that. Make sure that your answer is boxed as well. That's pretty important for us to be able to find your work too, particularly if you're a outside-the-box spiral thinker. But yes, please do submit that on Google Classroom as soon as possible. I would normally have an assigned deadline time, but yeah, that's not in the cards right now. So I'll figure out what Google Classroom's doing. Okay, please stop. Please stop uploading. Obviously, for now, you can keep uploading. But again, that would be about your deadline, about 2.5 minutes to upload everything. So that completes the first portion of the event. We're hoping that the second one goes according to plan this time. So our first event is over. Our second event will be geometry algebra, that delightful combination. So in this case, again, you don't need to go into breakout rooms for this because it's going to be everyone taking the problem. So if you can prepare your second sheet of paper during this time, as though we were switching into breakout rooms or something. Again, name, school, team, and header and number, please, if you know your number. We'll have some kinks to work out for sure, but I think this will be a good starting point just to kind of get you ready. And in this case, I am staring at it. My team of grader elves has 100% verified that my screen shows 9 schools and 18 schools. So if it doesn't work once again, I'll just try uploading one more time. But we will give this a shot here in just a moment. Let's see. Yeah, that should work well. So this time, if things go according to plan, the problems will post when I actually say that they're going to post, and you'll be able to begin closer to the correct time. I will verify a couple schools this time and not scramble to try to get my laptop set up because we can't figure out why it's recording sound that at a time it's not supposed to. But we'll do the best we can here and see if this works. This is why we have dress rehearsals. Okay, so without further ado, I am going to assign to 9 and 18 classes respectively. Obviously not everyone's participating, but we'll get it to all of you. And once again, you'll have 10 minutes to work through the geometry and algebra problems. So I am going to click it once more. Let's try it. So here we go. I'm attempting to post the problems now. And I won't start the timer until they've officially posted on here. So you get a little extra time, I think, possibly. Awkward silence, waiting. Google Classroom's just staring at me. Okay, it's posted in 1. Okay, it appears that the problems have posted in all Google Classrooms. Like, if it doesn't appear right away, maybe click reload once first or reload the app. I'll give you a second to get there. And having said that, you have 10 minutes. You may begin. 1 minute remaining on the second event. 1 minute remaining. Alrighty, please stop. Put your writing utensils down. Basically, at this point, you have 2 minutes to submit your answer or to upload your answer on Google Classroom. I know many of you have already, but I will set here for 2 minutes. Later in the future, I'll add a 2-minute timer on here as well. But you have just now under 2 minutes to submit your answers. "42 seconds remaining. Okay, that will bring the end of the uploading time. Obviously, if you're in the middle of uploading or your Wi-Fi is fighting you, don't worry about that. Just continue uploading. We'll work out the logistics of dealing with ornery Wi-Fi connections for the actual events once they get started. We'll work out a system. I'm not too concerned about that for right now. So in the meantime, though, we will be moving toward our third and final event today. Oop, that's the candle timer. Our third and final event is a group problem. I think this will be a pretty enjoyable group problem. It's written by one of the members of my team. Basically, so at this time, coaches, you're going to need to create breakout rooms for groups of 3 or fewer. So basically, again, we're not concerned about which team any person's associated with right now because we're just testing out the system of grading using Google Classroom and the Google Sheets. But please do set up and prepare to break your teams out into breakout rooms. Because this is going to take a little longer and we've been using the lobby system so far, I'm actually going to put 3 minutes on the clock. I know it'll put us pretty close to 5 o'clock ending this problem, but 3 minutes to kind of get those rooms assigned as best as possible. After that, I will get ready to release the problems. So 3 minutes to create your breakout rooms for group, and then we'll get things started.
Mike, I repeat, your mic is hot.
Okay, with that, excuse me, with that, I'm hopeful that everyone's in their breakout room ready to go for the group problem. So because the group problem or everything on Google Classroom takes forever to post, I'm going to go ahead and click assign right now to all 27 schools. Again, we'll test it all out, and I won't make you don't need to start or anything or worry about time until we've got that going. And I apologize, it looks like the internal audio for some reason on my computer was recording, so suddenly there are two audio devices to try to look for. So I apologize for that. That shouldn't happen again. It's a valuable mistake to make. Let's see. So again, I stare impatiently at Google Classroom. I would share my screen here, but then I'd be afraid I wouldn't be able to turn it off. So we're going. By the way, I've had a couple questions about like the grading. The grading's being done simultaneously right now. We've been working through it silently on Zoom because we're not sure why certain things keep recording sound and certain things don't. It looks like some of the schools should have the problem already. It's still going on the other one, but let me check one out here. Yes, it looks like some of the schools have the group problem. It's interesting because I loaded the other one faster. So give it a second. Honestly, it'd be great if you already have the problem. I think it's EGUSD that's going a little through faster. If you could just hold off until we say officially start. There we go. Okay, looks like it's now posted for non-EGUSD as well. Let me pop one open here and make sure that it went through. It does appear that the group problem is posted for everyone, so please do reload for me if you can. Reload if you can't see it already, at least, please. I am going to get the candle timer set up, and you will again have 10 minutes. With group, remember only one person from your group needs to submit, but please do have everyone's name on there, even though, again, it's not a huge deal today. So with that said, you have 10 minutes starting now.
pull it up. I'm typing it. It's a lot. It sounds like you're blowing air into the mic after you finish each word.
Why did you buy a Blue Yeti? Wait, you invested into a Blue Yeti for this? What? I didn't know that. I want a Blue. Oh my! I want a Blue Yeti.
Guys, shh. We can hear our voices on the stream.
1 minute remaining. 1 minute remaining on group. Okay, if you can please stop your writing and get ready and prepare to upload. I've had a couple comments go through that said that they didn't upload because we'd gone past the point. Don't worry about that for now. We'll work out the logistics of that. For now, just focus on uploading your paper at whatever time you can. We're going to be waiting and grading whatever comes through. We're not worried about due dates or timelines or anything. So as with before, though, you have 2 minutes to submit your answer and upload. So your 2 minutes begin now. Okay, please complete your uploads. Basically, if you haven't already. Again, we've had a couple teams come through without names attached. Obviously, it's not a big deal today. But if you know you did that, just go back into Google Classroom and add a comment that says who was on your team together, just for the sake of making sure that we account for it as much as possible. We're also going to mess with the audio settings a little bit while the grading goes on. I've been told that it's coming through in kind of different sounds, and it looks like it is on here. As I said, this is my first time using the audio mixer feature on OBS, so I'm just trying to figure out what's there. We'll see if this does any better. Got my one testing. So if you're listening to this if you're a grader elf listening to this, if you could tell me if this sounds any better than it did before. I'm just literally clicking buttons and sliders and trying things. So. Okay, that's good. That's what I was going for. Thank you. Perfect. It's good information. Thanks to those of you in the YouTube live chat. I don't know all the lingo yet, but yes. Okay, I'm going to mute for a little bit while we finish up grading. If you want to hang around, we'll have some final announcements here in just a second. There's not going to be truly a winner. I mean, I guess I could motivate you by saying there's going to be a winner, but basically everything's kind of what's the phrase? Everything's sort of a mess right now as we're trying to like organize things. We'll definitely have teams and rosters and everything organized more for the next time. But do have a couple little announcements before we head out. So give me like 3 minutes here, and then we'll come back and at least announce what we can. We're pretty close to finishing grading, I think. So thank you. Okay, having said that, I believe my team has said grading is done. I like the suggestion in the live stream chat that everyone is a winner today. I think that the loser of today is Google Classroom's ability to quickly post assignments, because I am not happy with what I've seen from this free software that we're leveraging to make this happen. But other than that, I would consider everyone a winner. As my team was talking about and as we discovered on Tuesday when we went through the problems for the first time, the 5 of us writing the problems may have gone a little aggressive on the first event, particularly with balancing some things out. But I think the group problem was really, really effective. I think there's some really neat ideas in there. So something I do want to let you know, it's not posted just yet, but it will be posted in the next 5 minutes or so, give or take. Google Classroom taking 10 years to post. Vian and I have made video solutions for all 5 of the problems, so if you'd like to hear me talk more, you are welcome to watch the video and we'll talk through all of the ideas and the philosophies and how to approach each problem. I didn't write all the problems. They were inspired by old problems that we've run into, inspired by a course someone on our team is taking, and inspired by just kind of playing around and fiddling with things on Desmos. That absolute value one that you probably absolutely didn't like, that was me just playing on Desmos. So again, those resources will be available, as well as written solutions if you don't want to hear us talk. Like, I've had enough of me talking and typing, I think, for one lifetime. But in any event, thank you for participating today. Again, our goal is hopefully on October 8th. Like, obviously, I figured out where the desktop audio is to mute. I figured out which buttons to mute when, and we'll get to decorate this whole little screen thing that you're looking at here for the live stream. But hopefully we'll be able to host our first official district meet with figuring out some issues to handle the lag time and everything that keeps happening. But for the most part, I hope that you had a really good time. I hope that you weren't discouraged from our extremely challenging problems. Because again, that's the point, and we didn't get a chance to really calibrate. We were kind of focusing on all these other things at the same time. Thank you for all the patience in the chat, especially in the first problem when I literally ran out with my suddenly no longer working laptop to try to connect onto Zoom because of the audio issues. But I believe we have it all figured out. I've been able to mute me and my team of elves working through here. So basically, hopefully you're looking forward to that event. We'll provide some feedback to the coaches, and I'll look forward to hearing feedback from the coaches as well. So if you, or as a participant, have any feedback other than about the level of the problems, which again, we're not the ones writing the problems for the year, so don't worry about that. Basically share it with your coach and have your coaches contact me, and we'll take that into account, try to make this thing work really well. Unfortunately, if your hope is to have copyrighted music playing, like I originally wanted the song Final Countdown to play as we announce the winners every single time, it turns out that will absolutely shut down the live stream if I play copyrighted music. So I'm not going to do that. I may try to hum it later, which could or might not be an exciting thing. But again, we'll see what happens. I've got an 8-second lag here, so I get to see my team react to the weird things I say. Really short. But again, having said that, thank you for participating today. Sorry I ran a little bit long, and again, I apologize for the mistakes and like a couple times where our audio leaked out in ways that we didn't want to. We're going to keep perfecting this, and hopefully you will want to keep competing with us and having a season out of this thing, despite everything kind of going on. So with that, I'm going to stop streaming in just a second to make sure that I don't accidentally mess something up. For that, for those of you that have back to school night, have a good night. Again, I hope that goes really well. And for everyone else, I look forward to hearing your feedback through your coaches. And have a great night, everybody. Do-do-do-do, do-do-do-do-do, do-do-do-do, do-do-do-do-do.